Doo-doo-dee. It's Nandi!
Hello friends, I'm doing another character showcase today. Lucien, Death Company Intercessor, is the third playable Blood Angels character to come to Tacticus. You know my format for the character showcases by now. We'll start by looking at the character and his kit, and then we'll examine his abilities, discuss some nuances, and discuss special scenarios before concluding with a character infographic and where he might do well. Everything is timestamped, so without further ado. As usual, the model and animation are fantastic. Lucien has 3 traits, none of which are new to us. He has the Rapid Assault, Resilient, and Unstoppable traits. The stats on screen are at Diamond 3. I'll take a closer look later on to show you how this compares to other characters currently in the game. Lucien has a base movement speed of 3, but remember that due to his Rapid Assault trait, this is actually movement 4 until he makes his first attack. Lucien also has a 4-hit melee physical attack and a 3-hit blast attack at 2 range. His active ability is Black Rage. It is only usable if he hasn't moved already this turn. Lucien is set to 50% health, and then he charges an enemy within range and attacks it in melee. For this attack, and until the end of battle, Lucien has an additional movement and deals bonus damage when charging. The downside of this ability is that the character can no longer be controlled for the rest of the battle when Lucien goes into the Black Rage. He will simply move and attack automatically at the start of his turn. Lucien's passive ability is Visions of Heresy. After performing a normal attack, Lucien attacks another time, dealing bolter damage to an enemy within 2 hexes. If Lucien is at or below 50% health, his attacks have an additional pierce ratio. We can see how all of this fits together in his gameplay footage. In this clip, Lucien is 5 hexes away from the enemy unit. Ordinarily, his movement of 4 wouldn't allow him to get into melee to attack. However, the active bonus movement effectively gives him a charge range of 5. As you can see, his health is set to 50%, and for the remainder of the battle he runs around attacking whoever he wants, essentially behaving like a summoned character in your inability to control him. The active ability has particular wording that says his health is set to 50%. In this clip you can see how if Lucien's health is less than 50%, he is effectively healed to half health through his Black Rage. In this clip you can see that Lucien's active ability requires him to charge, so if an enemy is already in melee range with the character, it cannot be targeted by Black Rage. I'm running this following clip to show you that Lucien still follows some basic AI attacking principles even after activating Black Rage. He will try and attack from high ground whenever possible to deal the most damage to the target. I can therefore extrapolate that you can probably manipulate Lucien's movement by positioning your characters with passives that increase his damage, like Calgar for example. Lucien's passive ability, Visions of Heresy, gives him an additional attack of bolter damage after he makes an attack. Even when Lucien is not in his Black Rage, this ability is not targetable. He just attacks a nearby enemy within 2 hexes. As this clip demonstrates, the bonus damage can also be triggered while he is in melee range to the target. We should look at a couple of special cases and demonstrations next. The first question I got asked: how does Black Rage interact with skills that revive, like Incisis's passive, and resurrect, like Isabella's active? I couldn't test the revive because Incisis's passive only triggers when the unit is not overkilled. Lucien's resilient trait means that he stops at 1 health before dying and therefore is always overkilled, rendering him unable to be revived. When Isabella resurrects Lucien, Black Rage goes away. How does Lucien interact with Mephiston? The latter causes Blood Angels to attack again after being targeted by the Quickening. As you can see here, this lets Lucien attack 4 times in 1 turn when combined with Mephiston. However, if Lucien is moved through Quickening, he cannot use his active, Black Rage, because the Black Rage requires Lucien not to have moved prior to activation. If Mephiston attacks Lucien and applies the debuff that prevents characters from being healed, does the Black Rage still restore health? In this clip, despite being affected by Mephiston's Fury of the Ancients passive, Lucien still resets his health to 50%. The last question came from Kuva. What happens when you use aun'shi's active on a Lucien that has already gone into the Black Rage? You lose control, yes, but will the Raging Blood Angel reuse the active ability and potentially start stacking bonuses? You can see here that the ability remains grayed out for Lucien, and therefore I would surmise that aun'shi cannot recharge the active ability. Okay, so we've talked through his kit and showcased his abilities. I've listed Lucien's stats and abilities on this slide at each Guild War threshold. Feel free to pause the slide and take notes or screenshots if you'd like. The character is summarised on screen in my usual infographic style. His numbers on the right are at Diamond 3. Tawin, Tacticus Ambassador and Friend has run those comparatively against the existing characters in the game. Lucien's health and armour stats are on the 67th and 64th centiles respectively. We've taken another stab at rationalising and representing the damage and have come up with this latest model. You can see here how much damage Lucien does both against a target with 0 armour as well as one with infinite armour. This should hopefully give you a better means of interpreting a character's damage, and you can see Lucien's usefulness against different targets. Against low armour targets, Lucien is close enough to being the best in the game. That leads us to consider where the character is useful or where he might shine. I can go through and show you all the math about how much damage Lucien does against various targets, but these clips will tell the story more eloquently. Against equally geared characters, Lucien just slaughters people. The Black Rage Death Company Intercessor is appropriately lethal, and I'll run through some footage showing you just how he basically kills everything with ease. It's obviously not fully representative of a real fight, but goes to demonstrate just how much damage this guy does. Lucien doesn't fit into one of the existing raid teams because the bar is so high for the multi-hit team, but his damage is just so impressive. He's clearly a PvP pick, but a top tier one and will be a top meta choice for Guild War. Every time I use him, I like Lucien more and more. He's probably okay in legendary release events too, because he can attack twice and is good against swarm units with his blast attack. I haven't been in the habit of saving energy for hero release events, but this is the first character I'll be stockpiling energy for in over a year. If you're serious about Guild War, I'd urge you to do the same. I'll maybe sign off there. I've just started a Patreon for my channel. If you are fortunate enough to be in a position to support me and my content, I'd love it if you could check it out. I want to give a big thanks to my existing patrons for giving me the foundations to continue doing this. If not, I've left my refer a friend code here on screen. If you are a newer player, you can enter it and earn yourself 100 Blackstone. It is single use though, so choose who you support carefully. Bye for now.
Doo-doo-dee. It's Nandi!